Well, good morning. I'm glad that you guys are able to join us this morning. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're very thankful this morning. We have Miramichi Valley Bible Camp. A couple representatives from there are going to be coming and sharing a little bit about the ministry there, some opportunities this summer. So I'm going to turn over the first portion of our Sunday school class to them. So Angela, I'll have you come up, and you and Ashley can determine how you want to progress. But it's so great to have you guys here to be able to share with us this morning.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor Chad, for allowing me to come and share this morning. My name is Angela Ettinger, and I am the Executive Director at Miramichi Valley Bible Camp. Just started in this role just in April, so we're still just a couple months in, but we're gearing up for a great summer. So I just wanted to come and share with you all that's happening at camp this summer. So the first slide there, I don't know if you can see, but our theme for the summer is The Amazing Race. And it's based on Hebrews 12, verses 1 to 2. And I'm not wearing my glasses, so it's a little fuzzy, but we're going to give this a try. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We can do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. And so really wanting to teach the kids this summer that they can keep going, that Jesus is the one who is with them as they run this race, the race of life. And so really wanting to encourage that in the kids this summer. And you can go to the next slide there. So just wanted to introduce you to our team. So my name is Angela Ettinger, as I said. My husband is Joel Ettinger, and we have three beautiful girls, Leslie, Riley, and Mira. They were all going to be here today, but our two little ones seem to have come down with a bit of a cold, so we decided just to be safe and keep them at home this morning. But they were so looking forward to being here with you all as well. And then Ashley McGinnis, who is here with me today. Many of you might know her as Ashley Coughlin. She just got married last fall, and she is on board as our program director. And she's been at the camp for many more years than I have, and I just so appreciate and value her, and looking forward to a great summer. Ashley is married to Isaac, and they have a dog named Cosmo, and he is a fun dog. He is a great, I wouldn't say little, but a nice big dog, but he's just a great addition to the camp. And you can go to the next slide there. So this summer, what we're doing is we are focusing on day camps. With the uncertainty with COVID, we decided to once again just stick with our day camps for this summer instead of doing overnight camps. So we are able to run 7 weeks of day camp for kids who are 5 years old, kind of just going into kindergarten this fall, up to grade 5. So they'll come first thing in the morning. They get to have all of the experience of camp. They get to do swimming, the rock wall, sports, field games. We have a chapel service. So they get to experience all of what camp has to offer. And then they go home in the evening and get to have a good sleep at home and come back the next day and do it all again. And we opened up our registration for day camp on May 17th. And we had, between the 7 weeks, we had 30 spots available. That was according to the New Brunswick regulations for day camps. And in less than 72 hours, we filled all 210 spots, which was absolutely amazing and mind-blowing for both Ashley and I. We were shocked, but so appreciative of that. And so what we've been able to do is, still following the guidelines, we were able to open a third group of 15 kids per week. So we are able to take 45 kids per week, and there's already 4 weeks that are completely full. So if you were thinking of getting your kids coming to camp, sign up quickly because they are going really fast. We only have a few spots left for the middle weeks, weeks 4, 5, and 6, and then we have some waiting lists for the other weeks. So you can find all that information on our website. And you can go to the next slide there. One thing that we are introducing this year is a couple of junior high programs. That's one thing we weren't able to do last summer, and so we wanted to just have something for those who are currently in grades 6, 7, and 8. So one thing we're doing is called an LIT program. That's our Leader in Training program. And as I said, it's for middle schoolers who are currently in grades 6, 7, or 8. They get to apply to come to camp as a Leader in Training. They get to learn what it's like to serve, because in order to learn how to lead, you have to first learn how to serve. And so we're going to be teaching that. We're going to be doing a very specific leadership development and spiritual development course with them. It's going to cost them $40 a week to come because they have to invest in the leadership development program part. And we have space for 4 LITs per week. It doesn't have to be the same kids each week. We have room if there's some who aren't able to come for a couple weeks. But yeah, so they get to apply for that. Applications are coming due this coming Friday. So if you have a middle schooler in your family, in your life, who you know who might be interested in this program, please have them apply, and we'd love to be able to have them at camp this summer. And then what we're also going to do at the very end of the summer, August 29th to 31st, we are running a junior high overnight camp. So we are going to do one little overnight camp, but it's going to be more of an extended retreat just for a few days there, a couple nights. And that is, again, for our junior hires, grades 6, 7, and 8. They get to finish off the summer with a bang with their best friends, come and have just a great summer experience at camp. So we're looking forward to some great programs for our junior highs. You can go to the next slide there. So you might be wondering, how can I partner with Miramichi Valley Bible Camp? And I know that your church has been involved for many years. Chad was the director of the camp for a number of years. And so you might be wondering, how can we be involved? Well, for those who are in youth, there's a few different ways that you can be involved. There's our junior cabin leaders position. Those are for those who are currently in grade 9 or above. And it's a volunteer for a week at a time, but we do need quite a few junior cabin leaders just to make sure we have enough leadership for the kids each week. Of course, our LIT program for those in grades 6, 7, and 8. And then we are also looking for a lifeguard. So if you know anyone in your family who is a lifeguard, who might be interested in taking the open water certificate, because that's something we need because we're right on the river, please mention it to them. We would love to be able to have them join our team this year. For adults, we are looking for those who can come and help just get the campgrounds ready for camp this summer. So cleaning crews. Ashley has gone through and figured out everything that needs to be cleaned and updated for camp this summer. So you can just give her a call and say, you know, I've got a couple hours Tuesday after work. I can come by and just clear some brush, or I can sweep the cabins, or, you know, mop the floors, whatever needs to be done. And we'll just together be able to get the camp ready for our campers this summer. We're also looking for some lunchroom supervisors. Because it's a full day at camp, we would like to be able to give our senior cabin leaders and our leaders just an hour off at lunchtime. So if you have some free time at lunchtime and can just come in and just pretty much make sure the kids don't kill themselves, we would love for you to be able to join us. And you can give me a call at the camp, and we can figure all that out and work that all out. And then we also are looking for some cooks for our junior high overnight camp. So that would be August 30th and 31st. So we need breakfast, lunch, and supper on the 30th, and then breakfast and lunch on the 31st. So if you can come for one of those times or for a full day and bring a team with you, we would so very much appreciate that. You can talk to me after the service, or again, you can call me at the camp later this week. Another way that you can partner is by advertising. We are on Instagram and on Facebook, and we do a lot of posts primarily on Facebook. That seems to be our biggest area that gets some traction. And so if you don't already, you can go ahead and like our Facebook page, and then you'll be able to see all the posts that we do. And if you could just share those posts. When you see a new post come up, just hit that share button, and that just helps get the word out to all of your friends and to those who might not know about the camp and who might not be aware of what we do. As well, oh yeah, there we go, share our post, that's at the bottom. Again, I don't have my glasses on. And one of the other ways that you can help, of course, is financially. You can do a camper sponsorship. We do have some campers who are coming to camp but just can't afford to do so, and we're looking for those who can help sponsor a camper to come to camp this summer. Or you could also give a monthly or a one-time donation. Of course, primarily what we do is in the summertime, but we are wanting to expand and do some more programs throughout the rest of the year. But in order to do that, we do need to have some finances coming in on a regular basis to do that. So if that's something that you feel led to do, we would so very much appreciate it. You can talk to me afterward about how to do that. And we can go to the next slide there. And of course, the biggest thing that you can partner with us is in prayer. That is the biggest thing that we need. We just want to be able to close this summer in prayer. So you can pray for our campers to hear and accept the love of Christ. There's a lot of children and youth who come who don't know Christ, who have no religious affiliation. And so we want to be able to just share the love of Christ with them. So you can pray that they would hear and they would accept Christ as their Savior. You could pray that the lives of campers and their families would be changed. You can pray for our summer missionaries, that is our summer staff, as they disciple and care for the campers. You can pray for safety for the campers at camp. Of course, camp is a lot of fun, and we want to just make sure we're safe and having a good time, so you can pray for the safety for the summer. And then, of course, please pray for Ashley and myself as we lead this summer, just that God gives us wisdom to be able to lead and just to be able to do the best that we can do. And you can go to the last slide there. Sorry, I caught him off guard. So there's our website, MiramichiValleyBibleCamp.com. All of the information is on our website. Links to register for our camps are also there. Application forms for both our junior cabin leaders and our LITs are on there. So please go and take a look. Share it with anyone who you might know might be interested. And we are just so looking forward to a great summer this year. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass it back over to Pastor Chad, and thank you once again for letting me share with you this morning.
Thank you. Angela and Ashley are going to be here for our morning service as well. So if you have any questions between the services, please feel free to go ahead and ask them and find out if there's a way that you can partner and help out with the camp this summer. So glad that you guys could be here, and they're going to, again, be sharing a little bit in the morning service as well. Let's turn our attention for a few moments this morning to the book of Ecclesiastes, to our study here. Now, at the end of the week last week, I gave you some homework. I'm interested to know if anyone did that. How many of you did a portion or at least some of your homework? Oh, good. I see a few hands out there. That's wonderful. First thing was just to read over the first chapter. This is kind of the introduction to the book, especially those first few verses in there. And as we kind of begin, a couple review questions. What is the main purpose of the book? What is the main question that the book asks? Oh, don't go to the slide yet. You were supposed to guess. What's the main question of the book? Is life worth living? Very good. I see you were paying attention last week. That's very good. That's the main question that the book asks. It's an intensely practical, it's nitty-gritty. It gets right down to it. As Solomon uses his life, he wanted to use the wisdom that he had to do an experiment and try to find out what the purpose of life was. And so he applied himself to all the different facets of life, all the different things that people normally look to find satisfaction, to find fulfillment in life. He applied himself to those things in order to find out and answer the question, is life worth living? Where can we find satisfaction? Where can we find our purpose in life? And so he applied himself to all these different things. That was the purpose with the wisdom that he had given. He looked and saw, I'm the smartest man that's ever been. I'm the wisest person that there's ever been. I want to use all of my wisdom to find out and to search out what the purpose of life is. Can you find satisfaction in the different portions of life? Right before we jump into that, the second part of our homework was to find something that appears new, but has actually been around forever, that's actually old. Did any of you think of something or see something that may appear new, but it has been around forever? An idea or something around you? Anybody have a thought or anything that they want to share? Yes. So games? All right. Okay. So one of the things that appears new but's actually old, apparently from all the way back in 850, they had come out with yo-yos and other different kinds of those kinds of social interactive games. Right. Right. So something like the yo-yo, which we would think is a more kind of modern thing, was actually from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Anything else? Any other illustrations of things that may appear new to us now, like games, but that were actually have their roots all the way back? Anything else?
I'm not sure I've tied into all this cross-gender thing.
Right?
I think there's rules and Exodus and stuff. Isn't that the men not wrestling women and stuff?
Yep.
There is something mentioned with that too.
Yeah.
That seems new to us, but it's really not new either.
That's very true. The whole transgender idea, most people would think that is a very, very modern idea and thing that has come up recently. But the Bible talks about those kinds of things hundreds and hundreds of years ago, back when the Bible was written, the Old Testament was written. So it's not a new thing. It's been around forever. Anything else? Part? True. Divorce, it's another one of those things. We kind of think of it as kind of being more popularized in modern times, but it's something that's been around forever. Anything else? One last thing we'll tackle before we jump in. True, the opposite being marriage, yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep. There's a lot of things. The Old Testament's full of little pieces of advice mixed in with the law that God gives that, like hand washing, that back then they didn't understand and didn't kind of quite grab, but modern day science, kind of backs those things up. That's something that's been around forever, that God knew, obviously, that that's something that's good for your health to wash your hands. But for a long period of time, that was not a thing. So that's old, but sometimes we think of that as modern hygiene, as being just a modern concern. But hygiene and those things that we do have been around for a very, very, very long time. Well, let's jump in and just spend a little bit of time on a few verses here in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 this morning. We looked at kind of the first 11 verses, and we're going to look at verses 12 and 13 together here for a few moments, because this is the introduction where Solomon tells us what he is trying to do. He says, I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. It's a very, very, very practical and very hard-hitting kind of verse to introduce us to what he is trying to do. Solomon gave his life to thoroughly search out the purpose of all human activity. So I gave myself completely, used all my wisdom, concerning all things that are done under heaven. This is his experiment. Everything that happens under the sun, I want to figure out what its purpose is and what it does. This was an itemized search of every major activity in life to see if it would bring satisfaction and fulfillment. And the search for meaning in life is often glorified. You often see it glorified in how Hollywood portrays it and just how people talk about it. Oh, I'm looking for meaning in life, and it's something that's a grand search, and that it's very noble, and they portray it as being very, very fulfilling. But Solomon says, searching for the meaning of life, this is hard work, and I'm just tired. He says, this sore travail hath God given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. Now remember, there's the purpose of what he's trying to do is to figure out if the things in life have meaning by themselves. So separate from God, everything that happens under heaven, under the sun, I'm going to try to find out if, when you take God out of the picture, does this bring satisfaction? Does this bring satisfaction? So his experiment is to find out if, separate from God, does the things that I am doing, are all of these things bringing satisfaction? Can they bring satisfaction without God being involved? And then in verse 14 he says, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. So he gives us his conclusion even before he's actually gotten into things. We looked at vanity before last week, and that just means something that's worthless. And vexation is striving, and it's exerting great effort in order to accomplish something. So he says, all the things that men work for, well, I just found out that they're worthless, and the whole of all of my energy that I have expended in trying to do this is like trying to catch the wind. When you remove God from the picture, he says you're just left with vanity and vexation of spirit. Things that are done under the sun, separate from God. I'm tired. I'm worn out. It's worthless. And I just can't seem to find the reason why you would put in all of your energy to do this stuff in life without God involved. One of the quotes says, all the works that are done under the sun never truly satisfy the heart. They are but vanity and grasping for the wind. Both the workaholic and the alcoholic, they're running away from reality and living on substitutes, and one day the bubble or the illusion will burst. So after all, Solomon introduces the whole thing and says, my purpose was to conduct an experiment to see if all the different facets of life that we expend our energy into, if any of those things can bring satisfaction without God. On their own, can these things bring satisfaction? And says, so I'm going to look for the meaning of life in everything. And then in verse 14 he says, just want to let you know before I get going, I expended all of my energy and I'm tired, and I couldn't find satisfaction in anything. So no matter what it is that he turned his attention to, it doesn't matter what you go to fill your day, if God is not a part of it, it's going to be a useless substitution that won't satisfy. Whether you go to drugs or to alcohol or hobbies or work, or even if you try to substitute church, and you subtract God from it, nothing is actually going to satisfy. We often judge people very harshly for some things, and then we excuse others, even though Solomon says both of them function the same way, and they lead to the same thing. So it doesn't matter what addiction you have, whether it's work or alcohol or something else. if you're trying to find satisfaction in things under the sun, he says you're going to end up and get to the end of your life and still find that it was empty and that you expended all of your energy without great purpose, without it meaning something. So he hits you right from the very beginning with, all right, here's my conclusion. And now, just in case you have any concerns, I'm going to go on and I'm going to tell you and conduct all of my experiments and let you know what all of those things were. So he's going to look at work. He's going to look at substances and their abuse and all of the other factors that people, or all of the other things that people normally turn to find meaning and to find satisfaction. Then he's going to give us his report. But he starts out at the very beginning and he says, all the work that you could possibly do under the sun, separate from God, if you get to the end of your life and you're looking for satisfaction anywhere but God, you're going to find it's empty. You've expended all of your energy, and it's elusive. You're going to try to grasp at the wind for it. This is the purpose of Ecclesiastes. And this is why the book is so important for everyone to understand. Every one of us has hobbies, has things that we like and that we enjoy. And Proverbs is going to show to us that there is joy in life. There are things that we naturally and should take pleasure in. But at the very beginning, he wants us to know, if you're trying to find satisfaction, if you're trying to find a meaning to life, and God isn't in it, it's never going to satisfy. It's never going to be enough. No matter what substitute you have for it, if God isn't in it, it's not going to be enough. Doesn't matter if it's good. Doesn't matter if we consider it bad. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle. Anything from which you subtract God is going to leave you feeling like you're trying to grab onto the wind, and it's not going to satisfy. I love how that quote, and I'm going to read it again for you just as we kind of close up our time in this little introduction again. It says, all the works that are done under the sun never truly satisfy the heart. They are but vanity and grasping for the wind. Both the workaholic and the alcoholic are running away from reality and living on substitutes, and one day the bubble of illusion will burst. In the verses to come, he's going to go on and describe for us that finding meaning in life is something that every single person wants to know. Everybody who is alive wants to know what the meaning of their life is. Which is why he starts out and says, before I even tell you all of the experiments that I conducted, you need to know. Because everybody wants to know the meaning of life, let me tell you straight up. If God isn't involved in your life, if God isn't in the things that you're doing, they're going to be empty, and you're going to end up with a tired, worn out life and nothing of value or substance. Proverbs was a wonderfully helpful book, giving us all the practical things that we need to be able to make proper decisions. Ecclesiastes deals with what happens before you make a decision and helps you understand, why am I living the way that I'm living? Why do I do the things that I do? And how can what I do and how I live have satisfaction and meaning? Proverbs is how you live out. Ecclesiastes is, what am I doing here? It's what we need to know before we get going. So that's why I love the book of Ecclesiastes. We're going to finish up there today because the next section, I want to spend a lot of time in it because it's a wonderful, wonderful section. Verse 15 says, that which is crooked cannot be made straight, that which is wanting cannot be numbered. And there's so much that Proverbs gets in, or that Ecclesiastes gets in there. So we're going to stop there and finish off our time. We're going to pray, and the live stream is going to be ended. And then if you have any questions, we'll field those at the end. But let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity this morning to hear about what's going on at Miramichi Valley, and help us, Lord, to take stock of our time and of our energy and see if there's some way that we can serve you with them. So we thank you for the opportunity that the camp is being able to put on these day camps and give them wisdom, give them direction as they move forward, and thank you for how you have brought so many kids to be a part of those programs, and may that be a fruitful time for your kingdom this summer. We also thank you for the book of Ecclesiastes and all that it means. Help us, Lord, to understand as we go through this book what really will satisfy in this life. So we thank you, we praise you in your name. Amen.